Welcome to another AMA with Kadena Project Network. In this episode, we will be speaking with the team from KOSU. This conversation was recorded on June 12th, 2022, live on Twitter Spaces. The views and expressions in this AMA do not represent the views of KPN directly and are not to be considered as financial advice. Please make sure to do your own research on the projects presented. Also, make sure to follow our account to be alerted of new uploads. Now let's get started. Enjoy. Hello everybody, welcome. Another AMA today. We have KOSU Space joining us for what's going to be a very informative AMA. I want to welcome everybody. How are you all doing today? My name, of course, is Chris, here with another KPN AMA. Yeah, I'm quite excited. I've been reading through the light paper and everything, and I come myself from a background in customer support for a crypto company kind of thing. And I will say, like, speaking to actual users using a product in the crypto industry, that education and teaching people how just the basic stuff of crypto works is such a needed space and such a needed tool that KOSU is really, if they can pull everything off right, it looks like it's going to be exactly what this space is going to need. Because I ran into just the basic things of people that are so used and so ingrained in the old legacy system of everything being centralized, and they are not responsible for anything really. You know, like, oh, my account got hacked and a bunch of money got stolen. That's okay. The bank will just change a couple of numbers on their computer and bam, your money's all fixed, because to them it's just numbers in a computer, quite honestly. And just seeing that, trying to get people to realize that it's all in your control. If you have a non-custodial crypto wallet where you have a phrase or private keys or whatever, you are the one that is fully responsible for the safety and security of your wallet. Your wallet now becomes your bank, and you become the head of that bank. So you don't have insurance. You don't have all of these options of just being able to go back in and changing numbers.
It's one of those double-edged swords where it's great because, you know, it makes those numbers that you do have more real versus, you know, the alternative. But
no, I see the screenshots you're sending me. Are you trying to do this all through a desktop or something? Because I'm pretty sure unless you're using a mobile emulator, Twitter Spaces will not work in any capacity on desktop of any kind of sort. So unless, you will definitely need some kind of mobile device. So if you have a phone, a tablet, anything like that with Twitter linked in, then that'll definitely be what you'll need to do, it looks like. Like I said, there is a way right now that you can run Twitter Spaces on a PC, on desktop or something. That is through an emulator like BlueStacks, or if you really want to get technical, you could probably figure out a way to actually run it right in Android Studio. But that's like, you'll need to know a little bit of tricks to make that work. But BlueStacks is okay for an emulator, and you can run Twitter on it, but the problem is it doesn't have a very good audio compression. So you sound very robot-y when you talk, and it's very choppy. So I tried setting it up and using, like, you know, I'm using a very good condenser blue snowball microphone, and just it sounded absolutely horrible, as opposed to my like $40 gamer headset I'm plugging into my phone here and using the mic with.
I know that's the main thing that I want for desktop Twitter Spaces. Let me use my mic that, you know, I spent all this money on.
Exactly.
Let me be crispy and clear.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, hopefully a desktop app would be the way for them to go. Just port everything into like a Windows app, and so that we can set our own devices and all that kind of stuff in there, which would then be able to hold spaces and all of that fun stuff. But unfortunately, we're stuck with just using mobile for the time being, and we make the best of it.
Most certainly.
I'd like to use desktop so that I could do cool things like run like music and stuff in the background, or have like intro songs and things like that. Which would
No,
be
honestly,
very handy.
you could go a lot further. Hopefully KOSU will get, I think he might have been on desktop like you were saying, and hopefully he's booting up Twitter on his phone.
Microphone. So yeah, make sure you go into your Twitter app permissions. Let me see if I can get a screenshot of this. Sometimes though, when I back out of the app, it screws up Twitter Spaces, which can have a problem. So make sure it says go into app info and go click on permissions, and make sure that you, in the list of permissions for that app in your phone settings, that you have microphone turned on and allowed. Because I don't think it turns it on. I don't think the app will turn your mic on as default unless you allow it to right at the start. When you first download the app, it'll ask you, what permissions do you want to give this app? And unless you turned on microphone, then you'll probably have to go back into, like, if you're using an Android phone, for example, you'd go into settings and then apps, and then click on Twitter and click on permissions, and that should just bring up a whole list of, camera, microphone, contacts, blah, 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 location, all that fun stuff. As long as you got the mic for that enabled, then you should be all right. I think then, even if you don't have headphones or anything, it should just play right through your mic and headphone, or mic and speaker for your device. So I don't know. I've never tried that without using an actual headphone with a mic. It just picks up through your phone mic. It should. So yeah, I'm quite excited to dive more into this. Like I said, I was coming from a support background. Definitely education is a main staple in the space that's going to push it forward, because a lot of people think blockchain and look at crypto and think that it's really very difficult to figure out. And quite really, it's not that hard to figure out. Like, it does get more complex with things like Kadena, where you're working with multi-chains and all of this kind of stuff, and smart contracts with PACT and everything. But just the basic underlying of blockchain is quite simple and very comparable to even old development systems. So you got your network, which is your bottom layer, which is everything that you need to then run and store and make transactions and secure your network. That is the most important layer. And then on top of that, you have your sub layers, like your layer 2s and your smart contracts and all that fun stuff. Oh, there we go. Looks like we got KOSU in here now. And then you got, on top of that middle layer where you have your smart contracts, there you have all your applications, which is things like the KOSU is building, like DEXs, all of that fun stuff. So it's really quite easy. You don't have to know exactly how it works in the background. You just have to know that it works. And the best thing about that is open source projects, where you can also then go in and look at the code yourself, or have multiple different people audit code to make sure that, yes, it is secure. But adoption will really come when we simplify things. Touch button applications, touch button systems.
Where you don't have to know that you're using crypto to be using it for the benefits, which is exactly. I agree with you. And with that, I'm gonna hop back into listener.
Yeah,
my work here's done. Glad that you guys figured it out.
Yes, perfect. All right, KOSU, welcome. I'm glad you were able to figure that out. Hi, how's it going?
Hello. It's much better now, man. That was kind of crazy. So you're precisely right. No, I was attempting to use it from the desktop, and normally, like, I've never spoken in a AMA on a Twitter space, or just on Twitter space in general. So normally I'm just listening, but I was having further issues because I was already signed in from my desktop. So when I tried to double back on my phone and then come in as a listener, it was giving me some permission issues. So we figured it out finally. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, well, welcome. Glad to have you here. So I'm sure, as you've heard from the things we were talking about, we were saying that education is definitely going to be an avenue in this system that's definitely needed. And the space is, as it's growing and bringing more people in, teaching them the basics and teaching them how basic blockchain works and how things like that work are going to be vital. So maybe if you can just give us first a little quick rundown of who you are, your team, and what KOSU is and what you guys have in store.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Again, everyone, thank you for your patience. So my name is Langston Hughes. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, USA, currently residing in Bali, Indonesia. And KOSU, it actually stands for course in Japanese. And we're looking, initially, the idea originated from this problem we see with the ease of people entering into blockchain and crypto, right? The on-ramps, market entry has been easier than ever, but people are just hopping in, they're getting wrecked, they're getting scammed, they're, being left with a sour taste in their mouth because of the sort of roadblocks to actually becoming proficient in cryptos in general. And so I personally have been interested in crypto since as early as 2013, but there's still not a time where I don't send a transaction through my wallet and I'm double checking, second guessing myself like, hey, why is it taking longer than yesterday or earlier today? So I can imagine the sort of anxiety that people are facing with this situation. So that's the basis for KOSU. It began as this idea of like, how are we going to sort of take these new users by the hand and give them sort of some guidance on how they could actually enter this space correctly and not feel overwhelmed. And as a result of that, the idea of taking it even further, and creating an entire space, not just for crypto education, but just education in general, and surrounding that with sort of this development of a creator's economy as well. So that's pretty much the core competency of KOSU. We have a magnificent team. So my co-founder is Idris Dave. He has like 20 years in software development experience. He actually created a nice tech company there in Guelph, Ontario. I know, Chris, you're from Canada as well. So he has a nice company there over in Guelph, Ontario. It's for AI automation, and he's also working on a few other blockchain projects as well. We have a chief marketing, a CMO who is Indonesian, and she has a great deal of experience in marketing with multiple companies here in Indonesia. And then we also have our lead blockchain developer. So the co-founder is also chief technical officer, but we have our lead blockchain developer. He's actually based in Nigeria. He has a wealth of experience working on different crypto projects. Currently been spending a lot of his time on a project called Clever Harvest, which is a company focused on bringing blockchain technology to like food production. And then we have some more non-core members, and we have one additional developer as well. And so we're all over the place. As I mentioned, we have myself and marketing and PR here in Indonesia. We have our COO who is based in Malaysia. He's done a number of great things in just the digital space in general, especially with e-commerce and bringing a lot of companies here into Southeast Asia. And then we also have the co-founder, Idris Dave, over in Canada as well.
Yeah, that's one good thing about these crypto spaces and things, is that people just are from all over the world coming together. It's just so amazing to see. Like, for example, our team at KPN are all over the globe. We are definitely a worldwide team as well. So it's just very interesting to see all these different spaces and minds come together on a common goal.
Yeah, precisely.
So let's get diving a little bit deeper into KOSU. So pretty much as I've been looking through your white paper and reading it, people will be able to submit their own courses as well. So say if I wanted to teach someone about wallet safety, I could develop a course and submit it?
Yeah, exactly. That's correct. So if you're a creator and you want to teach anything under the moon or above the moon, you have the ability to upload the course. And if you provide liquidity for this course, those who complete the course in a small quiz, they'll be rewarded in our achievement points, which is known as KXP, which is KOSU experience points. These KXP, these experience points, they can be converted into crypto, which would be our native token. And, we're still at a stage right now where there's a lot of proof of concept and things of that nature that we're still ironing out the details. But so far, the consensus that we have is immediately people will be able to exchange their KXP for our native token. Now, does that have the possibility to scale in the future to maybe just directly to Kadena or et cetera? Those are, details that we're going to be still working on.
Of course. Sounds very good. I like the whole idea of it's not going to be it doesn't have to be just blockchain, right? It could be educational about anything. Is that correct?
Exactly. And that's one of our things. That's one of the main things we want to emphasize when we build this sort of culture amongst us as, the people behind this project. We want to be able to provide an educational experience. So a lot of these learn to earn platforms, they're just focused on, oh, hey, there's a new crypto called Fetch. So learn something and earn $3 worth of Fetch. Or there's, a lot of these projects are focused.
Coinbase is very well for that. Coinbase has a very well-known project where you can go and sign up with them and just, learn about this project and they'll give you a couple of dollars.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one of the reasons a lot of people are sort of hesitant when they hear the whole learn to earn aspect, because quite often you just have you oftentimes have a lot of people who are interested in just, trying to find a quick way to earn some coins. In our case, we're sort of like putting ourselves in direct competition with maybe Udemy or Coursera or some of these platforms, right? We want people to be able to come here and they really want to learn. Like, that's their intention. So they can upskill, they can reskill, or just learn something new. There's a ton of people that their hobby is just learn. And that's why oftentimes you have people who are going to university for additional years after they've already received their bachelor's or something of that nature. And they're just learning more and more, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, education is definitely key. And as I will say, definitely in the crypto space, it is very lacking. But even overall with educational systems, especially over the past few years with the pandemic and everything, causing a lot of educational systems to fall behind or collapse even, is that it's just lacking in education. So people need to really step up and bringing this kind of system that will incentivize people to both share their knowledge, but then also to learn something new, better their own education will be very valuable. Now, the best, like we were saying at the start of the space, was that turnkey systems will be the key. Is not even really knowing that you're using a blockchain kind of system will be the key. Are you guys planning on building your system kind of family friendly, so that, say, like if educators at an elementary level want to come in and join and build courses for children, that it'll be very easy kind of for them to set up their course and everything through your platform without having to be a developer of any kind?
Yeah, actually, in regards to creating content, I think it's going to be as simple as it's more so as simple as someone creating a YouTube video and being able to upload a YouTube video. I mean, that's pretty much the learning curve. We're hoping to remove the heavy lifting that's required in regards to like back-end development and things of that nature. The sort of user experience we want to put forth would definitely be likened to sort of like YouTube. In fact, more in regards to your question, I was just this week meeting with someone. They're building this read to earn system here in Indonesia, and it's mostly focused on like elementary sort of age. And I was just talking to them like, yeah, that makes you sort of a creator. I mean, they have a different sort of workaround where it's license agreements, things of that nature. So you can't directly just upload this sort of content to a platform like ours. But I can only imagine that there are people who are creating content that's catered to children or, just different age groups. And they're also going to be able to have a voice in place on our platform as well. And then from these creators, if you're looking at this platform from the lens of creator, it sort of becomes this creator economy, because these guys are being incentivized to create high quality content, regardless of the age group. But they'll be rewarded for that as well.
Awesome. So another aspect of your system is going to be sponsors. So, for example, it says here like KadeX could sponsor a content bounty, and then people could pretty much they would become the liquidity providers, I would assume, then for the different courses.
Yeah. So one thing important to note is that anyone can upload a course. It doesn't mean it just means that doesn't necessarily mean that each course will provide rewards unless it has liquidity to provide rewards, right? So ideally, it'll be nice to have these big sponsors come in and they see some of their favorite creators, or even putting these bounties forward where they can incentivize people to create content that is catered to their end goal or their end product, etc. But even if you as a creator decided to upload a course and you're like, hey, I want to upload this course, but I want to be able to reward people. And if you have some financial backing that you'd like to provide as liquidity for that, you're also welcome to do so. So it doesn't necessarily mean only sponsors can provide liquidity for a course, but the way we have it set up is this idea of visibility. So the courses that are rewarding learners are the ones that receive the best visibility. And to sort of like keep this concept away from like a gatekeeping idea, what we're doing is we're allowing upvoting as well. So you may be some creator who's like, man, I'm just a creator. I don't have the funding to put liquidity behind this, but I'm going to upload great content and courses. And if people like it, it's going to get, exposure, and people are going to upvote it. And you'll reach the ranks, even though it's not providing liquidity, but you'll reach the ranks of visibility. And then you might have a sponsor like, oh, this is sort of our industry, or this is exactly what we're interested in. Let's sponsor this guy or girl.
Yeah, that's really what I was trying to get to, was that people could upload these courses for free, not really cost them anything, with no liquidity. But if the community is like, wow, this is amazing content, it'll get pushed up. It'll get pushed up in popularity, just like Twitter, or just like with YouTube, like you were saying, with videos that have more views and things like that get pushed up in the list of searches. Is that if one of these companies that are sponsoring, or projects that are sponsoring, is like, hey, this is really awesome, we like it as well, they can step in and provide the liquidity for people, and or even sponsor that creator to then, okay, keep building your courses and we will continue to sponsor your courses, which will then help everybody.
Exactly.
That is awesome.
And actually the incentives, so I'm not sure if everyone knows, but we are incubated with a platform called WeFund. And WeFund initially was in the Terra ecosystem. And, a lot of things have happened since then. So initially our entire plan was building on Terra. And we initially had this idea, and we still sort of have it. I mean, there's still options that are available, and it's just a matter of taking the time to figure out exactly where we'd like to execute this. But the idea was that these sponsors are going to provide the funding. They'll decide how much is immediately going to sponsorship, and then how much we'll be able to stake. So initially we were going to send the sponsorship over to Anchor Protocol, and then the yield from that would be used as liquidity. And in turn, potentially being able to provide at least about 80% of the initial deposit from the sponsor back to the sponsor, virtually making it sort of as free sponsorship. So these are things we still have to work on now. I mean, there's other options aside from Anchor, right? But, this is one of the blueprints that we have in mind.
So what made you decide to look into building also on Kadena?
So actually, we've already had Kadena on our radar since, the initial announcements of Kadena collaborating with Tendermint, and sort of like the interoperability of Chainweaver on the Cosmos, and PACT tracks being able to be built in Chainweaver, but also execute on the Cosmos ecosystem. So it's always been something that's been on our radar. It's just circumstances really forced our hand to decide, okay, what are we going to do? Yeah, sure, we have this idea in the pipeline where eventually we like to scale to Kadena as well because of this proof of work system, the trilemma being solved, all these amazing things, right? But what really pushed us is it's really how do you say it? It's a great match with our system, right? So our system is, we have this content that's being created by creators, which in turn are lessons or courses, right? But they're minting as NFTs. And if you actually look deeply into Kadena and you learn about the NFT standard on Kadena, it's really unmatched at the moment. And it's definitely the most applicable to the system we're looking to create, right? Because we have content becoming NFT. So the creator is an individual who has rights to this NFT now. That is a token in the Kadena standard, right? But now Kadena is allowing this sort of like poly fungible mechanism where you can easily split ownership with these NFTs amongst other individuals as well. So it was sort of like a no-brainer for us. I mean, we already knew about Kadena, but there was just like these other small elements that stuck out to us. And in fact, it was sort of like, you know what, that's crazy that the whole fiasco just happened with Terra. Maybe it was just meant to be, because the things that we're trying to, pardon me?
It was the final push that made you go, okay, I think Kadena is maybe the way we should go.
Exactly. And then it was just sort of like looking at everything after sitting down again and discussing and having meetings on Zoom, etc. It was more so like, oh yeah, okay, this makes sense. Everything happens for a reason.
Like you said, the whole being able to split the NFT ownership is definitely going to be key, especially when it comes to the sponsorships and all that kind of stuff with what you guys are planning on building. And like you said, it's kind of unmatched across the only, I'm trying to think if there is any, because I know definitely Ethereum does not handle NFTs in a very good way. Pretty much you don't pretty much own your NFTs. They're hosted on smart contracts. And then you have other systems, trying to think of what the top NFT systems are right now, because Kadena is still very, very early in the NFT system. We only have a few actual working projects out there right now that are selling NFTs and distributing things. But we have so many in the pipeline, amazing projects that are working, but none of them seem to be really using NFTs the way that you guys seem to be using them, as more of a back-end protocol and a way, it's, yes, you will have an NFT, but that NFT is more like your profile, your key to your KOSU system. Is that more of a better way of looking at it?
Yeah, exactly. And I was also going to add, like, closest thing is the ERC 1155 from Ethereum, but it's like pseudo fractional custody, whereas with the Kadena standard, it's actual fractional custody. But piggybacking off what you're saying, like, we're using it inside and outside of our platform. So content minted as an NFT is actually different than the system that we have with profile NFTs as well. So those are two separate things, but the idea of NFTs in our system is abundant.
Yeah, it's definitely good to see them being used for more than just fancy pictures that you sell. Because there's so much more that can be done with NFTs. Like NFT, the technology behind NFTs, especially with Kadena, and like you said, the way you can split ownership, all those different things, is so much more than what it could be used for right now. And once more people start seeing the potential, like you guys are definitely looking outside of what most people look at NFTs right now and looking at what can they actually do and what kind of utilities can they provide in a different kind of ecosystem. And you guys are definitely hitting it on the nail, I believe, for where NFTs need to go. They need to pull away from this whole 8 pictures and stuff like that and get into true utility and true use case.
I think the whole PFP, I wouldn't necessarily say it was a phase or a trend. It was definitely needed, and it brought it did its job. It brought about the exposure that the industry as a whole with crypto needed, and it worked. And I think it's here to stay. I don't think it's going anywhere. I definitely think it's here to stay. But it's just barely scratching the surface of, like you mentioned, the utility and leverage that we can actually have with NFTs.
Yeah, it is quite amazing, and I'm really very excited about your guys' project. Now, I see like you have a light paper and everything. Is there any more news? Like you have launching 2022, but can we expect to see anything more in the near future?
Yeah. So actually, like I said before, the biggest thing that we're really doing right now, especially since everything is happening so fast, is we're focusing on the proof of concept implementation, serving as the basis for like initial benchmarks and technical validation. we want to really see how we can incorporate, to what capacity we can incorporate, the PACT smart contracts into our system. And, a lot of times I think people hear about these projects and they're like, oh, this game is on the blockchain, or this project is a blockchain app, but it's not every inch of the app or the game that's actually on the blockchain. There's just specific components for the most part that have to be, made into a smart contract, et cetera. So there's a lot of things we're laying out. I would say our biggest goal right now is MVP. We want to have a minimum viable product available by October, November, I would say. And that's going to be something that people can use and indulge in. We also have something that we haven't announced. I would say we haven't officially announced. We have an actual NFT project, right? It's about 5,000 NFTs, and it's sort of like, it goes hand in hand with our ecosystem, I would say. That's something that we'll be announcing, an official announcement much sooner. That's called KOSU Chess Club NFTs. So yeah, we'll be having a lot more announcements coming pretty soon, definitely. One of the first things we're gonna release is just a better responsive front end, landing page, blog, and general like resources website, while we're concurrently working on some other milestones within the project as well. We recently had a nice call with a fella out of Kadena Ecosystem to see about a potential grant as well. So we're looking to see how that turns out as well. That'll definitely allow us to expedite a lot of things we want to accomplish with this project. But so far, I mean, everything's looking good.
Yeah, that was one thing I was going to mention, was actually one of my next questions was going to be if you guys were looking into applying for any of the grants through the Kadena team, because I know right now they are trying to push people to submit more and get their ideas built, because they're very keen on getting the ecosystem running, because they've put a lot of hard work into building the back end. So now it's time for people to take the reins and run with it. So hopefully, if you guys do apply for a grant, I'm quite sure that it'll be one that'll be pushed through, because this is definitely something that is a very strong use case for the technology, and which is something that should be showcased, is the technology itself, in which it seems like the Kadena team is much more interested in showcasing the technology than, just promoting and influencers and all that kind of stuff. It's more about the technology and building these great ecosystems on top of what they have laid the foundation for. So very exciting stuff.
No, I agree, and shout out to them. Yeah, they've done an incredible job, all of them. And like you said, it's definitely about showcasing this technology. I think one approach that we have is just, in which way can we implement some of the things that already exist within PACT language, within Kadena ecosystem. I also want to explore more things of how we can execute sort of like just using, I would say, leveraging the connection that Kadena has with Tendermint. I also want to see how we can leverage more of that as well. I think I don't think a lot of people have been eyeing that so far, but I'm very bullish on that concept of Kadena locking in with Cosmos and Tendermint. So I think there's a lot we can do that as well. But even the whole chain web idea, this sort of like graph theory and multiple chains, man, there's so much we can do with that as well. So we just start where we're, with this project and what we have in mind, but it's just the beginning, right? We just make this successful and run with it. I think it's going to be a big hit. You're talking about 3 areas of focus: creators, learners, and sponsors. I definitely think it's going to be something major.
Now, the learners is one area that we haven't really talked too much about yet, was as someone going to the website to learn what they can expect as an experience. Now, we did mention a little bit about the NFT profiles and all of that kind of stuff, but can we get a more idea of of what the process will be for users and what you will get out of it as just being a user, not necessarily presenting any content or anything like that?
Yeah, so let's just do a walkthrough, right? Let's say you're fresh, the app is already up, at least the MVP. You come to the MVP, you're going to see that there's an option now to opt in to the ecosystem. You can do that by paying a small fee, And if you pay a small fee, then you immediately receive an NFT profile, giving you access to dashboard, allowing you to exchange your KXP, KOSU experience points, for the KOSU token. Because if you don't have a profile and you haven't opted in on this level, you can't exchange what you've received into a token. So you can't make it liquid yet. So why do we have this sort of system where someone can purchase an NFT and someone else, they don't have that option yet, right? Or maybe they just don't have that option because of their financial situation. So first of all, let me reiterate, it's a small fee, still undecided, but it's not going to be anything big or outrageous. It's a small fee. Those who can't afford the fee, or they just feel like, oh, I don't want to pay to opt in, that's also fine, because your KXP, once it reaches a certain threshold, now you have the option to exchange it for an NFT. So if you're someone who's patient, or you just don't have the funding, we want to make this something that's accessible for everyone. I think, it's one idea to have a target audience, specific target audience. It's another thing when there's an audience that are the ones who need this sort of system more, right? Like I said, we're looking to be a platform that can reskill people, can upskill people, and just provide free education. So there's going to be a lot of people who are really enticed by this because they just can't afford education, even though a lot of things are available online free of charge. But receive a nice education, or receive upskilling, or receive reskilling, and get paid for it. People are like, sign me up, right? So we have it. You arrive at the app. You have the option to get your NFT profile picture right away. If not, then you stay, keep busy, complete courses and quizzes, and receive KXP, and then you can exchange that KXP for your profile. Only then are you able to exchange your KXP, newly received KXP, for the KOSU token. So now you have your profile set up. Now maybe you're a learner, and you're like, okay, I want to learn something. You're going to choose the language you want to learn in first. So you choose the language, and then underneath that, there's another category for all of the sectors, whether it's cooking, graphics, or maybe you want to do, you want to learn software development, web development. You want to learn how to speak a different language. If creators have uploaded courses in that language, then it'll be available for learners to learn. If they haven't, I'm sure in the beginning, there might just be like English, Indonesian, Spanish, just a few languages in the beginning. But another great thing is that as a creator, you may say like, man, this course is incredible. This is one of my greatest courses I ever made, and I want everyone to see this. Now you can put a bounty forth where you have specific languages you'd like this to be translated in, or it can just be a free-for-all. Anyone who has a decent language skill set, then they can translate your course. We have to figure out some other, ways for verification on the veracity of the translation. But of course, these are things we still have to work out as well. But you can put a bounty forth to have your course translated into a different language. So now it's accessible to a greater audience as well. So our the premise of our platform is also multilingual.
Yeah, I very love the idea of the multilingual thing, but also the whole people don't have to just automatically come in and put some money down to be part of the system. Is that they can come in, be part of the system, learn things, take these courses and educate themselves while also working it's almost play to earn, just to on that scale, even before you get into the whole using the tokens and everything. And the fact that it's not going to, if you don't have the money, you can't join is not an option. I love to hear that opens the door for anyone that wants to take part in the system to get in. Like you said, yeah, exactly. It'll take a little bit more patience than just, here's my whatever small amount. Let's get going here. But that just opens the door for pretty much anyone who wants to join, which I think is definitely, like you said, knocking down as many different doors you can between the user and the platform is the best way to get people on board.
Yeah. And just, as many obstacles we can remove, the greater. And even further, right? So like, let's say there's someone who's like, oh, I don't want to earn. I just want to learn. There's one video, there's a series that this one creator I know I like. He has a series. She has a series. I just want to check that out. I don't want to sign up for any of this crypto stuff or something like that. I don't like Web3. Let's say there's someone of that nature. They can still freely browse the app and go through any course they choose. No problem. It's just that they haven't opted in the ecosystem, so there's actually no way for them to earn while they're learning, but still open to learning. No problem at all.
Now, would there be a possibility of, could say a sponsor or someone put a course behind a pay lock wall?
That sounds like OnlyFans. I mean, we're a different type of app.
Yeah.
I think we definitely would like to make something like this accessible to everyone, because actually, that's actually when you can sort of like nurture this type of like culture and environment, you're going to see some of the greatest talent come out of that. Like there's going to be someone who learns they're going to learn Python just from KOSU and become like a junior developer in Python just from learning on KOSU, and they were rewarded while they were learning as well.
That's definitely going to be part of the key, is that they're not only learning, but who knows, that person may learn enough that they could then all of a sudden start their own project or even start their own courses.
Exactly. And we definitely want to be a major hub for people to learn about PACT and how they can develop their own apps with PACT. Like I said, every sector, there's going to be people who just want to learn how to dance. Someone's going to want to learn how to bake their favorite cookies. All of this is going to be available. And there's going to be creators that are interested in creating this content that's of good quality because they already know the potential of stimulating this ecosystem, as well as them being rewarded for contributing, remarkable content.
Now, this could also be presented to, say, people who are already doing this kind of thing with YouTube or other platforms making educational videos. Could they then bring their knowledge over to KOSU and also become a creator here and get paid for doing it here as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So let me talk a little bit more about my background. I have over 10 years of experience in building content platforms, from fashion to yoga to music, daily vlogging, you name it. And we've a massive network of these type of creators who are on YouTube or they're on Twitch, and different platforms, streamers, etc. And I know for sure, man, they would definitely like to come over to this sort of platform. Even our chief marketing officer, she ushered in TikTok coming. She's one of the pioneers that ushered in TikTok coming into Indonesia out of Beijing, and was working with a lot of talent from the TikTok space and networking with these people. And one of the biggest sort of gripes with people in TikTok, I would say the talent using TikTok, was their content was being suppressed if it had sort of like advertisements or endorsing a product. Whereas on YouTube, they're sort of like this AdSense rewards, but it wasn't the same experience. So there were people who were using TikTok and they were coming from YouTube, and they had just an ill experience of how they were like being shadow banned when it came to that sort of endorsements, because TikTok wanted all endorsements to go through TikTok as opposed to going directly into the talent or the creator. So I definitely know a lot of these creators and talent, they would definitely love a platform like this.
For sure. Well, I'm strongly definitely going to be watching along with you guys and following along, because like I said, this is definitely an aspect of the blockchain system that needs to come about, not just for blockchain tech or for blockchain education, but just like I said, education as a whole, so that we can all help each other become just a little bit better, better people, and help our fellow man become a little bit more educated and step up as get the kids and get the people off of watching. I love TikTok and I love YouTube and all those things, but there is a lot of mindless, numbless activity going on those platforms that even I will say I get sucked into it too. I find myself watching just random videos all the time on there. And people really should just, take a couple minutes every day and go and, watch some educational videos. Just learn the simplest things. I like watching people rebuild old machinery, and you get to learn a little bit about how things work. And KOSU will definitely help bring that, because it'll not only incentivize it, but bring the community together in a way that will just strengthen everybody. So I'm very excited for what you guys have in store.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I really appreciate it. The more the merrier, definitely. And we're definitely open to collaborating, especially once the MVP is well on its way to launching. We're definitely open to collaborating with others. Like I said, we'd like to have like a corner or some sort of like special dedicated area for Kadena Ecosystem. People who should be able to learn about different projects within Kadena Ecosystem. Again, like we said, the onboarding to crypto has been much easier, but the use of it hasn't gotten easier, to be honest, especially for a lot of different, if you're coming from like MetaMask to like Chainweaver, it's not to say that one is harder or easier than the other, but when you go from these different sort of like blockchains or apps for different blockchains, it always seems like there's a small learning curve. So you gotta, it's just a lot to learn, keep learning, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just making sure we can verify the sort of authenticity of the knowledge, right?
Well, that's pretty much all the questions I had. I don't know if you wanted to add anything else. I'd be open to opening up to anyone else that is listening in the space. If anyone else had any questions, feel free to step up and request to speak, and we can get you up here. But I am 100%, like the moment I first started reading through, I was like, this is definitely something. Even I think I'll be probably putting up some courses of my own, mostly probably blockchain related, just because I believe that a lot of the basic education needs to get out there. Like, what is a recovery phrase, like, and how is it used? Like, the people don't use the basic, people won't spend 5 minutes to go and Google it. But if they learn that, hey, I can earn, a buck for learning this, then hell yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Sign me up,
No, I'm telling you, it's very important. I personally lost money before. I created like a command line wallet for Solana, and I was just being mindless, and I forgot that my file was actually, my key file was my private key, but I ended up deleting the files because I wanted to make space for something else, and then I realized like, oh man, I just literally threw away money.
Yeah.
Because it's just so much technology, and it's coming so quick that it's very difficult. But yeah, let's take some questions. I don't mind at all. I'm very open.
Well, looks like Miners of Kadena stepped up. So if you guys want to join in the conversation, feel free.
Hello. How you guys doing?
Hey.
Oh,
how are you doing today?
I'm really good. Thank you very much. Busy. But hey, it's always a pleasure joining you in a space. And to be honest, I don't really have a lot of questions. I just wanted to say hi to KOSU. Hi. It's nice meeting you.
Hello.
We're extremely happy to have you join the ecosystem. And hopefully, it's a shame that, it could have been done under better circumstances with the entire Luna debacle, right? But I just want to say that it's, extremely motivating to see you guys going through something like this that caused a lot of others to just completely give up or deviate from their course. But you managed, to stick by your vision without compromising. And you just made Kadena so much better because ultimately you guys decided to join us. So we're really happy.
Thank you.
About that. I do have one small question, actually two questions, but I'll start with the first one. Right now, as you might know, PACT is not something that is incredibly easy to learn, right? And that's one of the things we spoke about previously. I was wondering if you guys would consider collaborating with one of the projects on Kadena that are right now focusing on creating tutorials. I mean, we have KittyCad, we have Babena, And both of them are extremely passionate about creating tutorials and helping community members learn. Would you consider collaborating with them to create a series of content that you will feature when you launch, or maybe even with Kadena themselves?
Yeah, actually, that's a great idea. I'm definitely open to that as well, and I believe my team is open to that as well. We have so we currently have officially about 3 developers, 2 in Canada, and then we have our lead blockchain developer. He's actually been learning PACT already. Yeah, you're right. It's definitely, from what I understand, is not that simple. I think people read human readable and they think that means that, oh, okay, instantly I know how to code smart contracts.
Oh, yeah.
What human readable actually means is in comparison to what coding language usually presents. That's why it seems more human readable than your average coding language, right? But yeah, I'm definitely open to that, of course. And I think even as the MVP is much closer to launching, it's probably better to start now, but I imagine we'll already be reaching out to people in the ecosystem to see if they'd like to do something as well.
Oh, that would be
it would be nice
incredible.
it'd be nice to have a set of courses already kind of set up as a launch pad, especially in collaboration as well with other Kadena projects. I think that would be a great way to open up a space for sure.
And if you do so, either with Babena or with KittyCat, we would be extremely happy to sponsor the initial liquidity for those rewards, even though, we're not those projects. But we do sincerely care about having the ecosystem expand, and by teaching people PACT, that's definitely one of the ways of doing so. But I do have another question, and that revolves more around monetization and incentives. I did join, I think, in the middle of the chat, so I might have missed something, but will content creators be incentivized as well?
Yeah, so we were actually speaking about the Kadena NFT standard, right, being polyfungible. So we're going to really leverage this technology to make sure that creators are also being rewarded. Of course, they can only be rewarded once there's liquidity within the course because the course is only minted once there's liquidity, right? So if there's liquidity already provided, then they'll be receiving something as well. I think since there's going to be just a genesis of our platform and it's still going to be in its infancy, we'll come with some mechanism to incentivize creators at this stage, since we probably won't have a lot of sponsors providing liquidity, but definitely they'll be receiving their fair share as well as a creator.
Even a tipping system is something that would be beneficial for some folks. But yeah, sounds amazing. Extremely looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's a good idea. Like a tipping system in front of a paywall is a very good idea.
Yeah, because, we do understand your mentality. Like, it's extremely easy to see when somebody is thinking, okay, how do I make a shit ton of money out of it? Like in Mock, our focus is to make as much money as possible for ourselves and for our investors. So everything is built around it. But for you, everything revolves around not how do we make as much money, how do we give people as much information as possible to ultimately lead them to be more successful and be productive with more tools that they actually acquire for themselves. But definitely, if I would see a video that I would like from a creator I would definitely consider tipping. And tipping is something which is voluntary. And in that case, it's not really, putting a paywall.
I think that's initially what's going to happen, because our system is set up like, I don't know, you mentioned you weren't here in the beginning, but a sponsor doesn't necessarily just have to be like some big company who's bringing a lot of funding, right? A sponsor could be someone who's like, I want to provide liquidity to this course as well, whether it's $1 or it's $50, or like some big sponsors, it's in the thousands plus, right? That in turn will delegate, and like I said, there's still a lot to work out, but that in turn will delegate you a portion of this polyfungible token.
Awesome. Sounds incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah,
awesome.
And
if you guys need any help with Marmalade, us and a few projects are right now teaming up to not only break up Marmalade to pieces so all of us can contribute equally to expand it, but also, maybe integrate some upgrades that we want to see with Marmalade itself. So feel free to chat with us, and we might help each other out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we were chatting before about a potential collaboration, right?
You might have spoken with one of our admins, one of our collaboration managers, maybe either Lazo or Adam. I'm not sure, but most likely.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'll double check. But yeah, definitely I'm gonna reach out for sure.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. So if anyone else has some questions, feel free to jump in. And
I actually just wanted to say, KOSU, we have been looking into ways that we can do kind of very, very simple tutorials for the people that we attract with our marketing, because, we do a lot of stuff on TikTok, and a lot of those people are attracted to wanting to get into crypto and our project and whatnot. And an issue that we found is the knowledge gap between, having to, wanting to get into crypto and not knowing anything about it. And I just thought that a lot of the things you have been talking about have seemed really, really awesome, especially how you guys are built on crypto without, and, aiming to cater to the non-crypto users as well. And yeah, I just want to say that we're going to be definitely looking to, launch some, probably nothing crazy like learning PACT, but instead, how do you create a wallet? What is a blockchain? Those type of things. But yeah, I just want to say we're excited, and if you ever need any smaller partners, we may be a good fit for creating some of your stuff and putting up sponsorships. I know that with our crypto mining, that we could dedicate a small portion of that directly into those rewards, and would be pretty cool. So.
No, yeah, I think that's absolutely amazing, bro. Like, honestly, we have to tackle every level, right, of understanding, whether it's, elementary or it's more sophisticated, it's required, and then you're talking about a proof of work blockchain where most people they shy away from even the idea of mining crypto because it just seems like something that is out of reach for most people. But really, there's ways to educate people on how to execute these tasks and have it done efficiently and simply, right? So even if it's like creating a wallet or it's teaching someone how to mine, like all these things are important. Like I mentioned earlier, like I was creating a wallet on command line, and that takes a little bit more experience, but I still, even with my experience, I still lost funds because I forgot that my private key was a key file, even though I still had my seed phrase, right? Some people don't even, know that there's a difference between a seed phrase and your private key, right? So every level of education is required.
Yeah, and even having rewards, it's something that, if we recommend somebody to get into crypto and they do, and they somehow miss the key phrase, they could be mad at us and say, oh, well, you got us into crypto, and so we want to create as positive of an experience as possible. And having those rewards is really cool because you can, incentivize people to truly get the full education. And that's something that we value and would definitely look into putting up those bounties for and whatnot. So I won't take up too much of you guys' time. I just wanted to say that we're definitely excited for what you guys are doing and keeping a close eye.
Thank you, man. The support is greatly received. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much for stepping up. If anyone else would like to jump in and have any questions, feel free to send in a request. Yeah, I'm very excited. Like full speaking miners were saying that the more people get into this, and the more liquidity, and the more projects that get on board, and the more that the community helps each other, the better that all of these projects will do. If we can just if miners want to come together with KittyCat and all those other projects that are working together, you can all learn from each other. And if having a set of already made up courses for launch, I think sponsored by known Kadena community members would be a great way to definitely boost the first initial go of the website, and platform and everything. So I would really like to see that come through. That's for sure.
Yeah. Actually, I agree. That's genius. I think it's a great idea, for sure.
Awesome. Well, if no one else has any questions, I don't know, do you have anything else that you'd like to bring up, KOSU?
Yeah. Maybe some people can't think of questions right now, but maybe later they have some questions they like to ask or some ideas they like to ask. Feel free to reach out to us on our email or on Discord. You can contact us on Discord, or you can just send a message to the Twitter inbox. Feel free if there's any type of collaborations you guys would like to do in the future, or anytime soon. Feel free. Like, we're open arms, and we're willing to do what we can to put forth the effort to make this ecosystem grow as well. So we're here. Just contact us anytime.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to definitely thank you for stopping by today. I think this was absolutely an amazing space, as I pretty much knew it would be, because you guys have an absolutely amazing project that you're working on. And I'm happy to see that you have a good, strong, solid team, and that you guys are going to be pushing forward. And I, for one, am very excited to see what comes out of this, and will definitely be contributing my part as well when it comes to space or to courses and all that kind of stuff. Maybe I might even try to sponsor one or two.
Nice. Yeah, and thank you for having us. It's been a pleasure. We should definitely. Awesome. I'll let you know when we have some more updates. Maybe we can have another space in regards to the sort of traction that we're making and the growth that we're making.
Of course, we'd love to definitely have you back. As soon as you guys have any more developments, we'll be more than happy to set up a space and share them with everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming by. Thank you very much for KOSU for stopping by today, and miners of Kadena and everyone else for stepping up and asking some great, amazing questions. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by, and have yourselves a fantastic day. Thanks, KOSU.
Thank you. Cheers.
That wraps it up for another amazing AMA. Thank you very much for listening. Here at KPN, we strive to bring an open platform for projects being built on Kadena to present themselves to the community. Please ensure to do your own research on each project before investing. Also ensure to follow us on our social media, from Twitter to our weekly newsletter. All the links can be found on our SoundCloud profile page. Thank you very much for listening, and take care.